Dreamers with a plan.
Welcome. You guys think that's from that movie with Matthew McConaughey? All right. My name is Coach Kelly, coming to you from Los Angeles, California. I have one of my very bestest friend from over 40 something years. We have known each other. Gilman, man. We met, I think Stu was 21, he'll tell you. And I think maybe I was 22 or 23. Stu can really dance still, but he was like, remember John Travolta?
Can he do it? Can he do it?
No,
Can
yeah,
he do it?
see, you got the contemporary one. That's not the one. That's the Sam Jackson one. We're the Staying Alive crowd, okay?
That's right.
We've known each other, our families, and Stu will tell you some of his testimonies. He was an elected official for 5 years in the state of California government. But anyway, he loved it. He'll tell you more about that. He is married to a wonderful person. His wife is Joni. She's the beautiful Joni. And Stu has 5 children. And let me tell you, he's got 7 grandchildren. He is the epitome of being fruitful and multiple. So he's in here to talk to us about his company that he started, and we're talking about lead conversions. Who are we, Malachi? We are what? Eagle Associates.
That's right. We're Eagle Associates, dreamers with a plan, people helping people. That's who we are.
Can I say my little nugget?
Please throw the nugget in there.
I want everybody to do this. Can I get everybody in the audience to kind of do this? Yeah. We soar with the eagles, and we're not scratching with the chickens. There you go, right? We are an agency. We are a mentorship leadership program. It actually was started by my mom and dad, Dr. Bill and Anna Mae Wright, over 47 years ago. They had a lot of education. Dad, postdoctorate from Harvard University. Stu will talk more about that. And my mom are masters, and they were looking good, smelling good, and broke. And 47 years ago, they met a couple that just began to share the principles of entrepreneurship. And my parents first said no because they were good employees. They were good students, and they were scared. Yeah, some of you are looking at this thinking about, man, I really want to be an entrepreneur, and I don't know what to do about it. And I'm like, okay. So my parents felt the same way. They met a coach. They began to learn the principles of entrepreneurship. 47 years later, we are still in business. I'm second generation. And through Eagle Associates, we have a digital fingerprint or footprint where we're going to teach those who are vetted, that have common sense, vision, and ambition about how the wonderful world of the internet works, how wealth is created online. And then we have a second part, which is the mentorship program. And so we really would like to only work with people who are hungry, appreciative, and ambitious, and who want more out of life, but they need to develop that success mindset. So that's who we are. Tonight, we're going to bring in Stu. All right,
That's
Malachi,
right.
take it
Yeah.
away. Occasionally, I'm going to hop in and mess with Stu.
Yeah.
But hey, Stu, welcome. Can everybody keep your mics off? Let me say, give Stu a round of applause,
Here
or
we
give a
go.
reaction button or something to let you know that we're glad that he stopped in to say, hoorah, Ego Associates. There we go,
Here
Ruth.
we go.
Here we go.
Hey, Kelly, you got me when he said he was fruitful and multiplying, starting with the 5 and then to the 7. And Kelly, as you know, I only have one, and I got another coming on the way. So, Stu, you're gonna have to give some wisdom, either tonight or after the podcast. I need all the wisdom so that way I can stay sane. Okay?
And you know, he's got good kids. They're good
I
kids.
do. I'm very
Yeah.
blessed.
And a lot of it is because 40 something years ago, we all came to the Lord around the same time. We were young and crazy and everything, but the Lord snatched us way back, Stu, in the early 80s. We've gone through some things and stuff, but we can attribute our life and the blessings of the Lord overtaking
Amen.
us because of decisions when God called us out 40 something years ago. There you go.
Yeah, Stu, just give us a little bit of extended background to what Kelly just shared, being a family man and being a businessman. How has that been for you over these 4 decades and balancing those two? And then, we'll kind of go into the main topic of lead conversions because we understand you're an expert at that. But yeah, if you can just share that a little bit with us, because we know a lot comes from your faith and you're grounded in faith, and from your faith leads to everything else. So if you can just share that with us, that'd be great.
Yeah, happy to. My journey in business really began with Kelly's dad and anime. Dr. Bill was one of my college professors at Northern Essex Community College. I would be understating it to say that meeting him and then subsequently anime changed the entire direction of my life. 100%. I tell people that all the time. All these years I've been saying the same thing. Seeing Dr. Bill smile in class, and one of the required books for his course was The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. So that was required reading in his class. One of the things that we'll talk a little bit, with lead conversions, I guess you could say I was a lead and I got converted. Part of that was because of who he was. And literally, I never saw that coming. As many times that probably happens with many of us. We're just kind of going along through life and we meet somebody and we weren't necessarily looking for someone in a particular arena, but literally he had me thinking about things that I never considered thinking about. So very blessed to have met Dr. Bill and anime. And not long after I graduated, I was ready to go day one, but he insisted that I graduate first. And then I came under their wing, really, and started the entrepreneurial journey. I guess that's what you guys are talking about tonight. Just have been very blessed. He taught me so many things that I never heard before. And I was somebody who wanted more out of life, but I didn't necessarily know that I did. I couldn't necessarily put my finger on it. And then I met Kelly. We kind of became like brother and sister. You can tell we look very similar, right?
Oh, I see it all. I see it all through here.
Anime saying like, wait, no, stop, just stop. As a matter of fact, I'm always telling anime stories too, all these years later, because I kind of got close enough to the family that I was the white sheep of the family. And anime would forever say, now, Stu Gilman, when are you going to stop acting white? And try as I did, I just was never really very successful, at least at that part. But I love anime. I love Kelly. Kelly is the one who led me to the Lord Jesus so many years ago. My walk, like hers, like many of ours, has been a bumpy road with lots of things that we didn't anticipate, bad choices, good choices. Let's just say I'm grateful for the word sanctification. I'm still in the process of being sanctified to this day. And I'm grateful to be here tonight and sharing a few things with you. And anyway, I've been through a lot of things over the years. A lot of my work was in the custom software industry for many, many years, writing software for large companies or working with teams to help do that. And as well as working with Bill and Anna Mae and Kelly for many years. And let me see. Oh, and then Kelly mentioned that I got elected out in Modesto, California, to be on the board of a $500 million utility, electric and water. And that was one of the highlights of my professional life
Okay. So
because I
you can
got
teach us how to
asked.
lower our bills, our utility bills.
Well, I wish I could help you, bro, but wrong city, and I'm no longer part of that. Now I'm in North Carolina because all of my kids are on the East Coast, and my wife and I, we were living in Modesto, and we gotten our dream home, and it didn't really much matter what your dream home is if all your kids are 3,000 miles away, and the grandkids. So we made a shift, just like Anna Mae went from east to west. We had to go from west to east. I guess you could say we've been very blessed. I've been very blessed. I was blessed to have been elected to a position. The mayor of Modesto had asked me, a city councilman asked me to run, and I was honored to even be asked. And I just gave it over to the Lord at the time and just said, Lord, if you want me to have this position, then just direct me as to what you'd have me do. And he literally spoke to me and said, just keep walking. And I didn't realize how much walking. It was almost 3,000 doorbells that I rang to get that position. And I learned a lot, and I was able to apply a lot of what I was doing for running in a campaign directly to what I learned from Bill and Anna Mae. So much. The principles are the same. People, it's all about people. And I know we're talking about lead conversion tonight, and that's what you'll be hearing about, but it's ultimately about people and how you show up for others. So with that,
Question real quick. Just something triggered in my brain, Malachi. Because when you said you were knocking on doors, right? Right? Thousands of people. So it's a numbers game in everything, isn't it? Everything comes down to numbers somehow.
Ultimately it is. And a lot of people not home, just like when you're talking to them, they're not home.
Yeah.
Knock,
Message.
Hello. That's right. Nobody home. And others kind of give you a little attitude, and some don't want to talk to you, but you just keep persisting. There'll be people that, as all of you know, who are in business tonight through Eagle Associates, that you just keep going and keep persistent, and eventually it turns.
And Stu, with that, would you say it was for you? Was it more so just the books you were reading, or was it the things that you were listening to that helped your mindset to build into that persistence? Because knocking on 1,000 doors is a lot. Most people, after they knock on one or two doors, they probably hang up and leave right away, right?
Oh,
If someone just
absolutely.
say, get off my porch, and you're from the north, and I was born in New Jersey, New York, they'll say some extra words in there. I'm pretty sure in Massachusetts as well.
Yeah, sometimes
They'll break their heart,
yeah.
right?
Well, one of the things I learned, once again, I'll take it back to early Eagle Associates. My very first business meeting was we had a speaker. And I never forgot this. It was one of those life-changing moments. The speaker was from the insurance industry, and his name was Charles Tremendous Jones, or Charles T. Jones. He said that I could meet every one of you here this evening, and I would know the kind of person you'd be like and where you'd be 5 years from now, based on two things: the books that you read and the people you associate with. That was one of those life-changing things. You hear something, it's like a nugget that just sticks. And here I am 40 somewhat years later, and I remember like it was yesterday, because that was so true. I was learning that at the time I was hanging out with a rock band, I got high every night and during the day. I sold pot out of an ice cream truck. I'm just sharing that with you, up in New Hampshire, that's what I was doing. That was my earliest entrepreneurship right there, but not the good kind, right? And so, but I knew I wanted something more. I was willing to do it almost anywhere at the time, but I learned from Dr. Bill and Anna Mae and Kelly to a certain extent that, there was a better life out there. And I knew that I couldn't be successful and high at the same time. So I had to make a shift, right? Like all of us here tonight, in order to be successful, you're probably going to have to make a shift. And I'm still shifting, even to this day. You never stop shifting.
Dude, that was spot on. And Coach Kelly, you talk about that a lot, about making sure that you're shifting your mindset, especially when it comes to everything, not just in a general sense, but everything. Even I know we're talking about leads, but you talk about that a lot. Could you just expound on that as well, Coach Kelly? The importance of that shifting? Because you've been doing a lot of shifting this year. Over the
Oh,
past 6, 8 months, you've been shifting a whole lot.
my mind is continuously spinning. All right. Starting a agency, and I'm grateful for, we have a nickname for 20 something years. I'm Relly and he's Root. And then we have another friend, Raniel, Dan, and he's
Daniel.
right now, Daniel. So we were Relly, and just Dan was the Harvard grad. You know, I think he had too much education, really, still. We're more the street kind of people, right? And having fun in life. We've started the agency. It's just been an incredible, and Stu said something when we first started. He prayed and he said, Stu, I can't remember how you said it, but Lord, give Kelly the ability to change if that's not the direction you wanted to go, something like that. And again, that's one of those profound things that you hear, that there's been so many twists and just lots of twists to get this up and running, right? To really help millions of people worldwide, right? Your dream has to be so big that it scares you, number one. And it has to be so big that you only know that God can make it happen, right? And
Right.
so when Stu said that to me, I'm telling you, every time there's a new turn, I hear Stu, I hear you. That
Pivot.
pivot. That's the word. Yeah. Pivot.
Mhm.
Thanks, Stu. You went to college. Good for you. Me too, but I'm messing with
I
you.
had your dad in class.
And, but yeah, pivot. So mindset is everything. And I just know, because my mom and dad were ferocious readers, that's why Stu has done quite well. I've done well as a result of learning that everything is mindset. And if you don't put what is needed in the mindset, but I have Angelo, he has $1 billion a year business. He's my personal mentor. Stu, you talked about Charlie Tremendous Jones said, it's the books you read and the 5 people that you associate will determine where you're going to be, right? He said, I know where you're going to be. So I don't associate with anybody that's got the blues and that is downtrodden and just that they're not going anywhere. Now I do, because I need to say, hey, come this way. There's a better way with the Lord. But as personal, my personal circle, if you ain't trying to go somewhere and do something, I can't have you with me. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to mess with my mindset. Like Stu said, his first book from my dad was The Magic of Thinking Big, not the magic of thinking small. It's been an incredible journey getting the agency up. It's going to impact millions around the world. We are going to create lots of multimillionaires. For me, it's just to be a blessing to people worldwide with what we're doing. But I just wanted to give that, and I'm glad you asked me, because Stu, I tell you, every time there's this decision, I just think about that prayer, and it's like everything just like goes, ooh, what you worried about? Just make a shift, right?
There you go.
Just keep
Pivot.
shifting. Right? How did you shift into owning your business? You sell companies, or you help companies sell their company. What do you do?
I basically sell businesses. So I'm a
Yeah,
business
Coach Kelly,
broker.
we got a gym over here. He
Huh?
buy and sell companies. Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah, he's the man. Okay.
So a lot of the folks that I work with are people who, baby boomers, like many of us are on this call. Not you, Malachi, you got a ways to go. You know, people looking to retire. They built something and it's been successful. So my job is to put a value on what that business could sell for. Also, kind of like you got Coach Kelly here, I'm kind of like Coach Stu. So I let people know if they're actually ready to sell, because they may have an idea of what their business is worth, and maybe it's not worth quite what they thought it was worth. And it could be more, it could be less, but it's usually on the less side. And so I have to deliver the news that if you want that much for your business, you're going to have to pivot and make some changes, and you're not ready to retire. And sometimes I have to do that, just be straight up with people. The truth will set you free, but it might bum you out initially too.
What, can I just say something, Malachi? It's
Yep.
like this. Everything is an offer in life, right? Right?
Yeah.
Our company, we make offers, right?
Yeah.
And our digital footprint. And it's just so funny what Stu just said, right?
Yeah.
No, you're not ready for an offer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. They don't have it bundled together enough for the evaluation to actually say you are this valuable and you bring
Absolutely.
this much to the marketplace of the target that you serve. And to that point, Sue, I appreciate you sharing that because when you make that statement to some of these business owners when they want to sell and they just can't sell, and you're like, hey, listen, you're going to have to pivot. How do they take that usually?
Ultimately, there's a responsibility that I have to care about the person I'm talking to. Empathy is really a very important part of what I do, as it is with what y'all are doing in Eagle Associates, right? Because if you're not empathetic, you're plastic. Because people know, we all know when somebody is talking to us. We have the gut check sometimes, don't we? We know if somebody is showing up for real or not. I genuinely care about people. And I believe a big part of it is the love that the Lord has placed within me for others. It may not always be, it could be a hard truth. Sometimes we have to give people the truth in love. So that's what I sometimes have to do, Malachi, is just share the truth in love and say, look, you might think you're ready to sell, but you need to do this, this, and this first in order to be able to get what you want from the business. And you're going to have to make some shifts. And if you're not willing to do that, then the chances are pretty good that I won't be able to help you. And because of the way our business model is, I only get paid when I sell the business. And it can take sometimes as much as a year or more to sell a business. So it means I'm in for the long term of being with somebody and holding their hand and making recommendations. So it's very consultative. All right. Kind of
It's not
like what
short-term
all of you
thinking.
need to do in your business is you are consultants. You become a trusted advisor, all right, in the lives of other people. And the more you do that, the more they will listen to what you have to say because they know deep down inside that you genuinely care. I knew that Bill and Anna Mae Wright cared about me, right? Which is why I stuck to them like glue, right? And became that white sheep of the family, whether they wanted me there or not sometimes.
Oh, we loved you, Rue. Of course,
I
we
know
wanted
you
you there.
did.
You know, and as you talk about that, a great book I want to recommend to people that are listening is by Jim Rohn. And the book is called Take Charge of Your Life. This book is so phenomenal because it really talks about what Stu was talking about. He has the skill to make it sound like it may be a bad situation because that person wants to sell, but he gives them the tools. Either you eventually can make this happen, but you're going to have to really be in for the long game. I believe that's part of being an entrepreneur anyhow. Those other guys that get that quick game, they're in the penitentiary, I heard. So Take Charge of Your Life by Jim Rohn. It is such an amazing book that really talks about how you talk to people. And I'm trying to remember, he said, you got to give them love and hate in the same conversation, and everybody feels good when you walk away. You know what I mean? Like God so loved the world, but if you don't accept him, you're going to hell. But you know he loves you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so as we talk to people, especially when it comes to leads, and because with Eagle Associates, we are really teaching people how to mentor them and how to use social media and how to use funnels and all kinds of things for products and services, whatever their business model may be. But they're going to have that, learn that skill set. And that's where we'll come in and begin to help you develop that skill set and how you talk to people or how you talk to a brand new lead and convert them.
Yeah.
So I just
Yeah.
want to kind of share that.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
letting me share.
I appreciate, as Stu said it, Coach Stu. That was very profound when you shared, if you're not empathetic, you're plastic. If you're not empathetic, you're plastic. And that hit home because Coach Kelly always says this, when the business moves from your head to your heart, it will grow. When it's constantly in your head, you're constantly thinking about the wrong things. You're not taking a advisory consultant type of approach to caring for the people that you have been blessed to shepherd because you're not thinking of it in the right way. And that goes to that goes to show that it's not just in our business, it's in everything. It's in everything that we do. So Stu, I really appreciate you sharing that. Kind of switching gears a little bit, Stu, if you could just share with us just the mindset. You gave us some tangible things already, but if you could just share a little bit more of just the mindset. You get a lead. What should your mindset be going into when you reach out to them and you give them a call or you shoot them an email? What should your mindset be, your mental expectation? Because we all know when you get a lead, that's not always a win-win. Doesn't mean they're going to want to be a part of your opportunity or things of that nature. It's not always that. But what is that expectational mindset that you would suggest every business owner think about when you get a lead?
Well, first and foremost, I pray about the lead, okay? And the other thing I like to do is prepare. And, when you get a lead, you're going to get a name, a phone number, an email address. And so, at least in what I'm doing, I will look them up on social media. I'll go to LinkedIn and try and learn about what their current occupation is. And so that way I'm prepared to know some things about them when we get on the call. And it also lets me know in advance of what kinds of questions I can ask. All right. And since I'm talking to business owners, I'll go to a website. I'll try and find them on the search engine. Learn what you can, and also have high expectation that the call or however your initial contact is being done, people don't always get in life what they want, but they get what they expect. And so expect something positive from the conversation. And I prayed about being on this call tonight. And Lord, I'm your ambassador. And no matter what, no matter which way a conversation goes, I'm still his ambassador. And I have an expectation that the other thing that scripture tells us is that we represent him.
Yep.
And so as long as we keep that mindset, you asked about mindset, then I don't have to worry about which way it goes or any one person. I remember learning from Bill and Anna Mae for years. One person can make a difference, but it doesn't have to make the difference. And if the next person that you talk to doesn't work out, I could let that deflate me, or I could say what I also learned from Bill and Anna Mae, next, right?
Yep.
Because that's really what it's all about. It isn't just any one person, right? So hopefully that's helpful. Oh, the other thing I like to do to get myself in a good mindset, I just wrote a few notes down here, is smile before you dial.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
What do we call it? Dialing and smiling, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
Dialing and smiling.
But that smile is part of creating an expectation that you're going to be positive. Once again, whether they become a client of mine or a partner of yours, whatever it is, you're still going to leave somebody in a positive way.
Yep.
And so people will talk about you in that way. What's our legacy? What do we want to be remembered for? And I could go off on a tangent, and I'm trying to restrain myself right now, Malachi. So, if we don't have all evening, we'd have people signing off quick. So, what else would you like me to chat about?
Coach Kelly.
Sorry, guys. Everybody's texting me. Well, you've done fairly well, Stu. I'm just glad that you took the opportunity to come in
She
and
sounds
just chat with us.
surprised, Malachi. She sounds surprised.
Yeah, I'm like, don't we have some questions for him? Did we answer all those questions? There's not any other questions?
Yeah, I think we've gone through a lot of the questions that, we thought through, and we really appreciate you sharing the wisdom that you do have over these 4 decades that you've had in business, and just your mindset and how you take a foundation of your faith to lead you through the way, understanding that you're a vessel of Christ, and everything that you do for him. So you're his ambassador vessel. And that's very, very important. I'm not just going to say in what we do, but just in general sense. I am really going to put it on a wall. If you're not empathetic, you are plastic. That is going on the wall. So Stu, you just started a new trend.
Oh,
We,
yeah.
we might have to just plaster that all over the universe on the internet.
Absolutely.
And we'll put the comment, Stu Gilman. We're going to give you the quote.
We live in a daily world where there is no empathy at all.
That's right.
And that's kind of scary, for sure. Stu, let me ask you something. What would you say about being consistent and persistent? What is it that keeps you growing every day? to be because not my dad, Dr. Bill, used to say, Kelly, nothing takes the place of consistency and persistency. And
And
life
there was
is full
another
of
thing he
roller
used to
coasters and up
say,
and downs. Uh-huh.
there was another thing he used to say all the time too. Success is built through inconvenience,
Not
not
convenience.
convenience.
Ooh.
And that's totally Dr. Bill, right? It's going to be inconvenient to do well, right? And whatever success means to each one of us here is going to be something different. I don't mind sharing with you. I'm 67, and there's times when I can think, I'm 67. I'm not quite as old as Kelly.
I'm gonna be 68 on December
Mic drop.
25th.
2 days, 2
2
days.
days,
Christmas
68.
baby.
Okay,
Christmas
okay,
baby.
but let's look at Black Don't Crack. Let's see.
That's right. No, you look good.
Let's
Hey,
see who's
that's
looking
You look
artistry.
fine, as they say,
yeah.
Kelly. Right?
Let's see who's looking better here. Okay. But go on, Stu. Consistency and persistency.
No, it just, and I have to remind myself that this was something else learned back in the day for me. Because I see people at different ages on here, right? You can always say something to convince yourself that you're not enough, right? Yeah, I don't have what it takes. But you can also say, I do have what it takes. And I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We can't forget that. But even now that I'm an older guy, I don't like to say old.
More seasoned. Why?
I'm seasoned.
More
Yes, that's
seasoned.
right.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm seasoned. That's right. Fully matured. Some people would say fully manured. But uh, you know, I had to remind myself of something that I learned years ago with Kelly and Anime and Dr. Bill, and that was talking about KFC, right? And the Colonel, he didn't start Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was in his, what, 60s? He
Yeah,
was out banging on doors trying to sell his recipe, right?
yeah.
And it's really easy as we get older to say, well, maybe I should start slowing down. Look who's on this call tonight, Anime, right? She may not be fast as a speeding bullet like she once was, but she's still here,
That's right.
right? And she's still on and still being a blessing. She still sends me birthday cards. And if there was a great example of who I want to be at 87, 86,
87.
87, that I want to be like her, still making a difference, still loving on others. And that's part of that, who you surround yourself with. Because if you've got people who genuinely care about you that are also winners, and you have a down moment, which you will have,
Yeah.
you will have times when you don't want to pick up that phone one more time. You will have people that will be trying to discourage you, right? The Dream Busters, Dexter Yeager back in the day, right? The
Yep.
Dream Busters.
Right.
And Bill Britton and all of those guys. And if you are surrounded by people who remind you of what you can be rather than what you are or what you were, then you are going to do so much better than if you isolate. If you isolate, you will deflate. You
Wow.
will not do well. You need
Yep.
to be with those who encourage you. Be an encouragement, just like Jesus Christ is an encouragement to us. We are obligated to be an encourager of others.
Yeah.
And that word gets out there. Also, King Solomon said, he who waters others also waters himself.
Yeah.
Amen.
Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep.
So I didn't know I was going to talk all this Jesus stuff tonight.
It's in you, Rue. It's in you.
It's
You know,
in me.
I always say when people watch our podcast, it's for those who want to know more or those who are in the know, right? And if it's not, if you don't want to hear it, there's another channel. Okay. But for us, we know where our blessings come from, and we know where our wisdom and discernment comes from. And like you said, we were put on this planet to serve others, not ourselves. We're here to serve others. And there's a saying, how many people's lives will be better off because we live? And that's really what it's all about. People are just jangled up in the mind and what about me? What about me? What about me? And we have to get off the me train and get on the people train, because people need people. That's why we're Eagle Associates, people helping people. We're dreamers with a plan, man. Hey, Stu, I didn't know you were a poet and you didn't even know it. You up there
Well,
rhyming over there?
one of the things that I was going to mention if I was asked about it, I know there was some things that Malachi was going to talk to me about, and one of those things was branding, personal branding, right? And because you are a brand, whether you know it or not. So are you intentionally branding yourself, right? So when I was running for public office, I had on my signs that were going in people's yards, "Let Stu work for you." And that has now, post public service, become Stu for You. And that's my brand now, is Stu for You. That's actually the license plate on my car, and it is my phone number, 980 Stu for You. It's something that I have fun with people about. Have fun with your brand.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be stoic, right?
Yep.
Because be someone that someone will remember, and remember positively. Your personal brand is also who you are associated with. So if you're associated with something, an organization, or someone that's bigger than yourself, then that who you hang around with matters. You hang around with Eagle Associates, that matters. You hang around with Jesus Christ, that matters.
Yep.
Because that is part of your brand. We become known for something. One thing that, and you may have heard this, and I love this illustration. Have you ever heard of the question, "What did you do with the dash"?
Mm. Mm.
Have
Oh,
you heard about that before?
Share it though. Share it.
Harry,
Okay.
please.
So at some point, we're all going to have some kind of tombstone,
Yep.
and there's a date on that tombstone when you started and when you finished. And in between those two dates is a dash. What did you do with the dash?
Yep.
And that dash is what you're going to be remembered for. Once again, Dr. Bill, gosh, I can't believe all the things that have just stuck with me over the years. He used to say, "It's not important how you start, it's how you finish."
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's been many times in my life where I've fallen hard and I had to pick myself up and dust myself off and start all over again. And part of that is just trying to remember I'm not my failures. And in fact, I encourage people, because of my own failures, fail more often.
Yes.
Now, you don't have to go quite down the tube as much as I did, but still,
Be okay with it.
that it's part of becoming. That sanctification. It's not an excuse. It's not a license to sin, but it's knowing that God loves us where we are, and he loved us where we were, but he also wants to love us into something. He has a plan and a purpose for our lives. And make a concerted effort, make a decision that that dash between those two dates, that you do the most with that.
Yes. Don't squander that. Don't squander that time, because whether people believe in the enemy or the universe, but when you squander that dash, wallowing in self-pity and all this stuff, that means you are not utilizing that dash, that time that you've given to on this planet. It reminds me, Stu, of the man who was the boss. He said, "Hey, Stu, I'm going to give you 5 talents. I'm going to be back in a while, but do something with those talents," right? And Stu's like, "Okay, cool." Then Malachi sees you and he says, listen, I'm going to give you 3 talents. I need you to do something with those talents, right? Mal says, okay, cool. And then there's Jim. Jim, I'm going to give you 1 talent and I'll be back, but I want you to do something with that talent. What did Stu do? Stu said, talent. So Stu goes out and takes that 5 talents and he creates what? 10, right? Right? And the owner comes back, the boss comes back, the master comes back, whomever. And he was like, "Oh, good job, Stu. Fabulous." Then Stu's all happy. And then he comes to Malachi. Malachi, so what's up? Malachi said, "Well, you gave me 3. I turned it to 6. And he says, "Oh, good job, Malachi," right? Good job. Then he turns to Jim. And Jim, this ain't personal because I know you use your gifts. I just used your name. So the boss comes back and says, "So Jim, what's up? What's going on with the talents?" "Well, I buried it, Stu." He said, "Boo boo, you did what?" you buried it? He says, yeah, boo-boo, I buried this too. And he said, you wicked. So when you talk about that dash, when we used to talk about it a lot, that is the most valuable thing that God has given to each and every person that hit the planet. And some people die young. We can't talk about all the things and the evilness that goes on in the world. I don't have all those answers. But I know that when you're in front of us and we're talking, you have a dash and you have a plan and a purpose. Plans, you have plans for good in your life. You have an expected end in your life. And if you don't quit or give up, you like Stu, you'll start walking into your destiny. Read books, expand your mind, right? As a man thinketh, so is he. And we got to start to expand our mind. And I tell you, Stu, I love you. I love your wife. I love your kids. I love your grandkids. And I'm just so grateful. Malachi did a great job on hosting. Hoorah, Malachi. And Stu, really, with our podcast, I really want Stu to come in. We're going to probably eventually have classes that we're going to be mentoring and coaching people. And I definitely will pay you, Stu. A servant is always worth their hire. But anyway, just so glad that you came in and you shared your heart with us. And we just want to say, look at what Stu said. Stu, what do you say? Stu for you? Is that you?
Stu for you.
Stu for you.
Stu for you.
We guys, can I get an eagle going? Can I get y'all to do the eagle dance with me? Stop flying, right? So when people ask me what you do, I say like this. I soar with the eagles.
Right.
And I don't scratch with the chickens. What do you want to do? Dude, we love you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, let's go off of the view. Let's just go to gallery view. And everybody come off your mic. And I want everybody to give Stu and his family. God bless you, Stu, and your family. May God continue to shine his light upon you. Shalom, shalom. And let's give Stu a big what? Hoorah.
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 Great job.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Stu. Love you,
Thank you,
man.
Stu.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Bye.